So let's start with the biggest of the lot, the old grey lady of Cape Town, or is it Pinelands these days? Old Mutual, established in 1845. Yes, 1845 in Cape Town. It's been around as long as this country has. It's a global long-term savings, insurance and investment group these days. Why? Because about 15 years ago it went offshore to London, started acquiring businesses all over the show. Market cap currently is about 150 billion rand. Assets under management, I think it's around $400 billion. It may be slightly more, slightly less, depending on the rate of the pound relative to the dollar. It's headquartered, of course, in London, as I say. Price to earnings ratio, I think, is around 23, dividend yield of 3%. Wilhelm, this one is one of those that's done very well in recent years as it's overcome the problems that it had back in 2008, 2009. So it sits at about 30 Rand a share. Is this one of the ones that you're starting to worry a bit about from a valuation perspective?
It is one of the ones we're starting to worry about from a valuation perspective, but having said that, it is one of the stocks that our clients do own in the sector. It's not a big investment for our clients, but our clients do own some Old Mutual shares. As you said, its share price has done phenomenally well over the past 5 odd years. In 2008, early 2009, there were grave concerns about Old Mutual's state of financial health. The expansion plans that you mentioned, which they undertook in the early 2000s, resulted in a balance sheet which was slightly stretched, and also businesses which were probably not the highest quality, and that combination resulted in some serious concerns about Old Mutual's future in late 2008, early 2009. That proved to be a fantastic buying opportunity, and since then the share price has done phenomenally well. At this stage, as I said, we don't think it offers phenomenal value, but it is a share our client owns, and it is still at least trading below our estimate of what its fair value is.
Yeah, because a couple of things that Julian Roberts, the CEO, indicates that they're looking at is, expansion into Africa, where there's still enormous potential because so few people have life insurance. And then in the United States, they've got those asset management businesses. They talked about maybe doing a separate listing there or bringing in other shareholders or something. But on that sort of 2 planks, that surely gives it some kind of blue sky upside.
Sure it does, and many people are very excited about Africa and the growth prospects there, but our view of Africa is perhaps more cautious than that of most. So we, in the talk of Old Mutual growing into Africa and the amount of capital it wants to deploy there, we almost hear some whispers of the past, where 10 years ago Old Mutual was hell-bent on growing very rapidly into a very big developed markets insurance business. And now you hear much the same rhetoric but focus on Africa. So it actually gives us some cause for a bit of concern that maybe this expansion will be too rapid and capital will be deployed into opportunities which may be attractive on paper, but in practice not necessarily so fantastic.
Well, for one thing, if it wants to be big in Africa, it needs a brand name which is neither Old nor Mutual, because of course it's neither any of those anymore. But as far as Julian Roberts is concerned and about the strategic imperatives that he faces, I mean, is that a plus for you? And what about the Nedbank stake? That's the other thing we must touch on. What about the fact that Nedbank is there? That's been a plus in recent years. Is that going to be a plus in future, you reckon?
Well, we think fundamentally South Africa's big 4 banks are good businesses, so it's an attractive asset to own. I think they have shown that they are willing to sell it at the right price, but they won't give it away. So I think they're being quite rational about it. But I don't think there's any problem with holding on to the Nedbank stake, at least at current prices. I think at where Nedbank is currently priced, it's not a bad asset to hold on to if you're the controlling shareholder, as Old Mutual is.
Right, so we've got to get through 6 stocks, so we're going to have to go to hot or not. This sounds tricky. Good business, doing well, kind of growing, but you're worried about valuations. So what are you going to do here? Fall on the side of hot or not hot?
I'll fall barely on the side of hot.
Okay, good. Well, it's there and it's at the price that we looked at, so I'll go with hot as well. Let's